Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Sagittarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Sun card. This is beautiful, magical. This is enlightenment. This is creativity. This is success. Okay? This is the first card of our spread. This is the station. This is kind of like where you are now. I feel like you're somebody who knows who they are and knows why they're here. I feel like you're having a great deal of clarity, almost like an enlightenment and a moment of realization in your life with this energy. Okay, I think you're somebody that is very charming, very creative, very like optimistic. You know, I feel like you're very friendly. I feel like you probably make friends easily, right? And you don't have a lot of enemies. Yeah. Right now there is this clarity that's coming upon you that I think is giving you a good vantage point of where you are in your life and what's important to you. This might be a revelation of some kind, you know. Let's put this card into a little bit of context. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Let's step into the 11 stations of the Dove and Serpent spread. Each one reveals a different facet of your current path. Ooh, Ace of Cups. Your power, your potential, and the shadows you're learning to integrate. 7 of Wands. We have a 2 of Swords. We have the entire universe. We have a 2 of Wands. Interesting. We have a 9 of Pentacles. We have a 4 of Wands, a 3 of Cups, and, of course, your superpower card at the end, which is the Queen of Wands, okay, representing a mutable fire energy, represents the Sagittarius energy in action. So that's a very good sign, okay, very good sign. Spirit's saying something about a road trip with friends that you took recently, or you went for a drive, the car had people in it, you were on some kind of a road trip driving somewhere, not locally, yeah? Did something happen on that trip? I kind of feel like there was something specific that's sort of sticking out for you about that trip. Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right over here. And let's not use Jimbo. Let's switch over to, well, let's do Alien Simon Mork Ripley right on top of that card. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card may be, put your prediction in the comments below the video. Okay. Now, as we look around the room, we see major and major, very good major arcana. You are a star in space. You are a star in the company of stars, okay? So I feel like you're really, really finding your trajectory in life. You're really finding like your path and your orbit through the cosmos, you know? I love that. We've got fire, fire, and fire, and fire, a lot of fire. We've got our water cards, a little bit of air, and we've got some earth cards. You've really got the best cards. There are a couple of challenges, I think, that our 7 of Wands, and the 4 of Wands really seems like it's a little bit of a challenge. Because I kind of feel like you've been fighting for something now that you're realizing isn't that important for you. So that 7 of Wands is that kind of, it's almost that, you know, refusal to give up kind of energy. And so I wonder if there is this enlightenment right now, there is this kind of clarity of that Sun card that's kind of telling you to like, just let something go. Just don't, it's not worth fighting about anymore. Maybe it's, you know, really trying to reconcile with that friend or family member or whatever happened on that road trip. to just let it go. It's not worth fighting over, you know? So anyway, our first card, this is the station. This is where you are now. The ground beneath your feet, the energetic signature of the current moment. Reflects your consciousness, your momentum, and, well, maybe even some unspoken questions, okay? I feel like this is wanting to know the answer. This is sometimes a card tied to, or a position tied to identity. It's kind of how you see yourself, right? And I think that you're kind of like the central figure in your life. Maybe in your group of friends, maybe at home or at work. You're like the main character, you know? And I think that you sort of take responsibility for a lot of other people. That if something doesn't go right, if there's some kind of discord, if there's some kind of fight or tension or some kind of disruption, you tend to take it personally. You feel like it's kind of, you know, you're the one that needs to get involved and organize something or resolve something. Yeah, and maybe you do. Maybe that's the Four of Wands in the environment here. There's something that needs to be resolved for you and in your relationships with other people. Okay, whether it's friends, coworkers, I don't know if maybe something happened on the bus or in the Uber, I don't know. But it feels like you were traveling somewhere and there was some kind of disagreement or some kind of discord that happened, okay? It may be a conflict over who's kind of running the show. Maybe you were in the car with your spouse or with your best friend, and there's kind of this almost a symbolic argument about like who's really driving the car. Who's really making the decisions here, you know? But you know, this as the energetic signature of your moment, of your consciousness right now, I feel like you know who you are, you know why you're here, and you have a great deal of clarity about where your life is supposed to go. You know, I think that you know what your path is in life, okay? The second card of our spread is the battle card. Represents the obstacles or the challenges. This is the test. This is where the friction goes. It's an emotional friction. And it may be really boiling down to your heart is in a different place than someone else's heart. I mean, literally in physical biology, of course, but I think symbolically too that your values are very important to you, okay? This is, you know, sometimes where we feel some resistance. Yeah, this is that obstacle, right? And sometimes that battle is internal. Sometimes that conflict is in our feelings, in our heart. And I think that this is one of value and importance and how much weight, you know, how much gravitas you're giving to something else, what the priority is of that thing. Okay? There could be a little bit of even fear with this card, in this position even. And it kind of feels like there is a friction or a tension with someone else in your life that is causing some reflection about what you want, what you value, and what you really love, and what you really feel is right for you, what's resonating with your heart. Okay? And it may be a moment of kind of reevaluating what you're doing in your life. It's kind of like, you know, when you're having that argument with somebody and you kind of just think, why am I doing this? Why am I here at all with this energy? You know, and why am I fighting with this person? It's almost like, it's kind of, it's almost a cliche now, but it's kind of like, you know, you're in trouble when your partner stops fighting with you. You know, because then it kind of means that they don't see the point anymore, that they just kind of said, it's not even worth the effort to fight with you. It's not worth trying to convince you of anything, you know? And so I kind of feel with this ace, you're starting to kind of question, like, where are you in your heart right now? Because that clarity, it's like the sun is shining a light on your ace of cups, on your heart chakra. And maybe it's saying, like, this fight is just not worth it. That whatever the beef is, we just need to let it go because the love that's here is way more important. Maybe this is the realization that you don't want to fight to save anything because almost like you don't feel it's worth saving this thing. Okay? And so the question really becomes, or that battle really becomes, what is your heart telling you, and are you resisting what your heart's telling you? because this sun has clarity, showing you what's in your heart right now. And this is the battlefield, because maybe it's very difficult for you to listen to your heart when your heart's telling you something that your brain don't want to hear, or your body don't want to hear. I think it's your brain, really, because that Two of Swords we have in the background here. Okay. But underneath the surface here, position 3, the soul position, this is your deepest truth. This is what your soul already knows. It's the ancient wisdom inside you, often buried beneath all the noise, you know, or fear, or conditioning, or... this has been a constant thing for a while now. There's this inner resistance. There's this fight beneath the surface in you, okay? And maybe you feel like in this thing, I don't know if this is, I feel like it's a relationship with another person. Maybe they're an Aries person, I don't know. If you're in a romantic relationship with an Aries, this is definitely for you. But it may be something else, okay? It may be, it could even be a career, a job, a vocation. It could be something at work, at home, at school. It doesn't have to be a relationship, right? I feel like there's other people involved. But that is sort of irrelevant. The point is that you have this tension underneath the surface, that your deepest truth is kind of telling you that this has always been a struggle. There's always been a disharmony here. Even in days where things seem to be really, really good and everybody's laughing and getting along and you're having a good day at work or something, there's something inside of you that knows, like, this is never really connected. There's always been like this, something getting in the way of just a smooth flow, ease kind of thing. And of course, that rational part of you says, well, every relationship is going to have its challenges and nothing is ever perfect and there's always going to be bumps in the road. And yes, all that stuff is true. But since this card is under the surface here, okay, this is like, whether you realize it or not, this is that constant thing that's always been there. And it feels as if, you know, this is a struggle. This is a struggle where there doesn't always need to be a struggle. Okay, so it feels like maybe you're coming to that realization that this is not the perfect harmony, soulmate situation that you thought it was, or that this job that you're in, or this road trip that you're on, it was a challenge from the beginning. Yeah. And so this is something, again, this is something your soul already knows. The deepest truth here, okay, is that this has been something you've always had to force yourself to do. And maybe this is a card called Valor, right? And Valor is kind of like knowing something, knowing we're going to lose, but fighting anyway. You know, choosing to not give up because it's the right thing to do. And so maybe you realize that you're in a situation that isn't really resonating with your heart, but there's some part of you that feels like obligated to continue doing it, or that it would be wrong of you to to stop fighting for it. Okay. Let's look at the background position. This here is the position for the dwarf. It's the small self. It's the sort of hidden habit, right? This is what is sometimes operating in the shadows, small habits, patterns, even insecurities. They kind of nibble away at your power. Yeah. And this is a Two of Swords. It's not malicious. It's perhaps trying to keep you safe. And what this is, in a way, this is self-doubt. In a way, this is your ability to split things apart and analyze things. And default to your rational mind, even though your intuition is telling you something else. Yeah. So there's a part of you that is trying to explain away how you feel using logic, right? Using, using the rationale-making faculty. We're making excuses. We're justifying something that we're not choosing, okay? Because this card kind of shows the way that it's supposed to work, right? Two of Swords plus the crescent moon at the very top, the intuition. Because we're supposed to analyze something, think about it, weigh the pros and cons, collect the data, look at things from this point of view and then look at it from that point of view. We're supposed to play devil's advocate with ourselves, look at both sides of the equation, see how things add up, whatever metaphor, cliche you want to use for the thought process. But then, big X, stop thinking, trust the feeling. Because we can analyze something and think about something and never reach any sort of clarity. The clarity here, that sun card, is not coming by way of you overthinking. Because thoughts beget, this is a multiplication sign. This is saying that the more you think, the more you think. And that no matter how much math you do, there's always more math to do. So at some point you have to say, okay, I've collected enough data. I know enough of the facts. I've seen things from every possible angle. Now it's just time for me to sit still and, meditate on it and see what answer comes up. See what the real truth is. Because I think when you stop thinking, that's when you feel this resistance within you coming up. And it's shining a light on what your heart is really up to, what your heart's really feeling. Okay? This is a card here that right now, and especially in this position, you don't trust your intuition. You don't trust that. But you need to. The next card is the fifth card, Giant. This is the higher self, or the sort of the dormant power that's within you. This is the sleeping giant. It's the universe card. And to me, this is like a higher aspect of you that's waiting to be fully awakened. Yeah. And this is your kind of cosmic nature. This is like, in a way, freedom. In a way, this is like no boundaries, no borders. It's kind of like saying you want a life where you get to decide where the car's going. You want to have, and it's not because you want to go do anything. It's not because there's like literally something you want to go do, but your person's not letting you. No, that's not quite it. That maybe is too literal, too on the nose. This is more of that feeling of not having the restrictions, not having the constrictive force of Saturn, which is, this card is Saturn, but also Earth. Okay? This is a divine capacity that you haven't fully claimed. It's kind of saying that there's so much more experience out there for you, but you've been sitting here fighting and wrestling and arguing with this little tiny piece of life over here, whether it's a person, a job, or whatever it is. And now, Tarot's not saying that you have to leave your job. The Spirit's not saying that you have to leave your partner. I think what is really going on here is Spirit saying that, look, this is such a minor thing in the grand scheme of things. You had that argument with your friend on the road trip. It's not that important. It feels like one or both of you are holding the grudge. It feels as if this is, Saturn coming back around again to it's like that Tool song, right? Literally called The Grudge. It's going to humble us again, right? So is this situation you're in worth all of that tension and effort and all the energy that you're expending, remaining in that conflict? And is the way forward either to just, you're done caring about that situation and you're going to go your own way, do your own thing. You're going to leave the job, you're going to leave the person, you're not going to be friends, you're not going to hang out with them anymore. Or to just really just kind of squash it and just say, it's not worth the effort. It's not worth fighting. Either way, whichever choice you make, your heart's going to be free. You're going to be able to just breathe without that sort of inner pressure, like something's just got twisted up inside. Okay? And this isn't about ego, it's about alignment. What is going to align you with what you feel is your more important role in the universe, right? Because remember, you are the sun traveling through time and space. You are the star, you are the sun here. Okay? I feel like your life is about to change forever. I feel like this is a listening to the heart and freeing yourself from whatever this tension or conflict, whatever this beef is. Okay? And, well, the Two of Wands in the future position, this is the imago, the ideal self. This is the archetype you're becoming. It's Mars in Aries. Now, this could be a bad thing. This could be the warning, too, because this could be, you know, if things continue the way they are, it feels as if this is the image you're being shaped into. Mars in Aries. Kind of a hothead. Kind of someone who's angry. Kind of someone who is like trying to control everybody and everything. Just kind of a it's like you have a deep-seated frustration and it's showing in everything you do. You're getting mad at people on the freeway. You're kind of, you're snapping at your friends a little bit. You're short-tempered. You know, we don't want to be that person. Think of Mars, the war god, right? And Aries, right? That sign of sort of rushing into things first, being the first one on the field. And that's kind of like, you know, we're very quick to react to people, very quick to kind of lose our temper, quick to snap, quick to say something that, oh, maybe I don't mean. We don't want to be that kind of a hot-headed person, right? So the imago in the spread is the image you're being shaped into. This is the blueprint your soul is growing toward, even if the process feels chaotic. Okay? Your journey is currently sculpting you into this kind of a hothead. Okay? But we can look at this in a positive light as well. Because by taken control over yourself, by understanding the energies that are here, this becomes a very positive thing. Okay? That you can control Mars in Aries. That you're the one, you don't have to just let that hot-headed war god run out onto the field and cause chaos and be that kind of person. You can control this, and that becomes true power, true strength. True strength is in your self-control. This is the card of control, right? Two of Wands. And this is now, if we frame it that way, this becomes the person we do want to become. I do want to be shaped in this image. Because this is somebody that's not going to let anything out here in the environment trigger you into a frustration or an anger. Real strength and real control is not how hard you can fight against something, but how easily you can let go, how you can control your fiery energy and let go of something that's not worth you fighting over. It's like you're wrestling with your friend about who gets the last apple, you know? And it's just like, it takes the bigger person, takes the stronger person to just say, go ahead and have it. I don't need it, you know? And then the other person thinks they won, I got the apple, but really they realize that, yeah, you're the one that really had the power and the strength in that situation. Because maybe you could wrestle it away from them, then you got the apple. And then they're going to lunge at you and try to get that. I mean, I guess there's only one apple here. I guess we could cut it in half, couldn't we? There are other solutions that'll be easier for your heart, easier for your soul, that will feel more freeing. We want to be shaped in this image, okay? But not in the shadow side of the Two of Wands, in the very positive light side of the Two of Wands. That's who we want to be. Because that version of you is an inspiration to other people. This is, this is an image of a leader. That's an image of a guide. This is an image of somebody who's very, very strong and very capable of controlling their energy. And it may just be as simple as saying, I'm not going to fight over that. I would rather be at peace in my heart and be free. And feel free. There are bigger things for me to put my energy into. This seems like a little squabble. It's not worth it. You've got a larger destiny. Okay? Larger destiny. Now, did you move recently or something? I feel like there's, well, first of all, I feel like there's a heat, right? I feel like either we're getting like hot flashes or you've had a fever, but there's some like literal heat on your body. Maybe it's just hot where you live. It's pretty hot here. But I'm also feeling like there was a move. Maybe that's the road trip. It's some kind of a movement from one place over a good distance to another place, whether you moved companies or you're literally like trying to move houses or something, or you relocated something, yeah. Maybe it was a a road trip for some other reason, but those two details are coming out, okay? I do feel like there's some kind of a new destination or a new building or something for you, yeah. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Readings are totally free. Anyway, your general energy is the Nine of Pentacles. This is the card of gain, right? This is your persona. This is what you're showing the world. The mask, it's the mirror. This is how you're perceived, okay? Sometimes it's armor, sometimes it's strategy. I feel like people see you as somebody who's very successful. And maybe this is an image that you're sort of, consciously cultivating, is an aura of success, right? Somebody that is able to direct their powers toward very productive ends, Someone who can be successful is somebody that knows how to harness their power. You can't make progress. This is a card of gain, this is a card of progress, this is a card of things working on the physical, financial, mental, emotional, and spiritual creative planes. Well, this is kind of a contrast to what we see with our fire energy, right? Because this might show that something on the inner planes, the mental, emotional sphere, something there might not be working so much. Okay? This is kind of like, this is that face that you're putting forward that says everything's great, It's kind of the way, like, in public, you don't want to fight with your friends or your spouse in public. It's like you save that for in private. Your public-facing persona is like everything's working out, everything's great, everything's functioning properly, The way we sometimes will mask, and I do believe that sometimes this is the mask, this is like even the armor, that we project an image of success and healthy functioning, even when behind the scenes, I don't know. And behind the scenes, I'm in some kind of disharmony. That there's something that's not really working, but I'm not going to tell anybody that. I'm going to present this image of everything's great, everything's working out perfectly, there's no problems in paradise, But behind the scenes, it seems like, there's tension, there's, trying to find the solution, you're trying to find the way out, right? This is a card maybe of a successful business person, And in some ways, this is the way a leader is going to project like, if you're somebody's boss, you want them to see you as someone successful. If I had a boss and they seemed like they had it all together, they presented themselves professionally, it looked like they had money, they weren't, chaotic, they seemed well put together, then you would sort of trust that person more, and for right or wrong, you have a boss that seems like they're successful, and you say, okay, that person kind of knows what they're doing, and maybe it's okay that they're my boss. But if you had a boss that is just struggling to do anything and seems frantic, seems chaotic, seems very on edge, very temperamental, you would say, I don't know if I want that person to be my boss. It doesn't seem like they're really good at it. Okay? So that's what I'm kind of feeling here. That you're trying to put this very successful face forward, right? And it's sort of asking if we're being authentic, or if we are sort of masking the tension or the discord or the conflict that we really feel. We're masking that. We're not telling the other person really what's going on here. Okay, what the real truth is. And so we may be wondering why there's this disconnect, why there is this friction, right? And I think that there's a kind of a disconnect between these two. Yeah? Between your deepest truth and the mask that you're wearing, because this deepest truth is that you're fighting for something that just doesn't seem to be working out, no matter, it's like you're banging your head against a wall. And then, of course, the Nine of Pentacles is saying, no, everything's fine. This is the image that you're curating. And it's an image of success and a proper functioning, and it's an image of progress, right? Where this feels like we're up against a wall, we're not making progress. Yeah, so there's a disconnect here. The next card is the Shadow, position 8. This is the hidden fear, the repressed self. It's the wound beneath the wound. It's the part that we're avoiding looking at, but which is kind of, running the show. It's some kind of unacknowledged power. Okay? And this is, the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is a card of completion, card of closure. Makes me wonder if there is a little bit of a fear of abandonment, maybe, that we're kind of there is, and maybe this goes back a long way, because this card is kind of like acknowledging that we're at the end of a cycle, acknowledging that something has run its course and the work is completed, and it's kind of like it's done here, right? And so it kind of feels like we're hesitating to move on from something. And again, if this is, you had an argument with your friend in the car, this is kind of saying that for whatever reason, we're keeping that argument going. And it's almost like negative tension is maybe better than no attention at all. But there's kind of like, there's something preventing you from just letting it go, from completing that, from letting something be done and over with. And maybe that kind of stems to this bigger picture thing that's just like, I don't know if I want this entire relationship to be done and over with, or if I just need to take this argument and just say, nah, water under the bridge, who cares? It's stupid. It's not an important argument. Let's just be friends. Again, let's just, let's continue on. Or this is the idea of like, how many times can we do that? Sometimes this is that card of it's a merry-go-round, right? It's the carousel that we're on, and we keep going around and around in this circle. And it may be, we get into an argument, okay, then we let it go and we're fine for a little while. Then we get in an argument, then we let it go for a while. And wondering, when does that carousel, when does that merry-go-round need to just stop? When do I need to get off of that merry-go-round, right? Because that's kind of the deeper meaning of closure here. It's kind of like, yeah, we can put an end to just this little argument we're having, but it just keeps happening. Like the same thing keeps going on and on and on, okay? So there's something here that we're afraid of, right? It's almost we're afraid of this closure. And, and it might be that you have a kind of deeper reason or impulse to cling to something and not abandon something just because it's hard. Maybe you had a caregiver that did that when you were younger, or you've seen the effects of that kind of thing, and so you're not somebody that's just going to say, this is too hard, I'm out of here. Okay? And that's fine. No one, again, Tarot's not telling you that you have to leave your job or leave your partner or abandon your friends. But to just understand why it is that you keep clinging to this situation rather than just walking away. If you don't want to walk away, you want to stay clinging to it, fine. Just understand where that comes from, okay? Where in your shadow that energy is that doesn't want to put a kind of a final conclusion, to have that kind of final closure on this, okay? And so this is kind of, this is secretly running the show, because we go around and around and around. Now, position 9, the specter. This is the ghost. This is the unfinished story. This is an echo from the past. This is a karmic thread, unfinished chapter. It's lingering because it needs resolution or release, and this is a card of abundance. This is the card of love and affection and gratitude. This is a card of celebration. Okay? Sometimes this is a fear, worry, and concern. It could be that the deeper clarity here might be that even when things are good in this situation, they're not really good, or they're not that deep, soul-satisfying good. Okay? It could be that the only thing really stimulating about this situation is the carousel arguments going around and around and around, that we might stay with the arguments for a while so that we can then feel the pleasure of, when that argument's over, we get this surge of, it feels good, because as a baseline, this isn't all that fulfilling anyway. Okay? So this is kind of a wish. This is an unfulfilled wish. It's a 3. It's still potential. It hasn't reached the level of manifestation yet. It's literally the wish card, right? That you're hoping for a certain kind of abundance, a certain kind of love and appreciation, a certain kind of bliss, a certain kind of magic in your life. And it's an unfulfilled wish. And so this is something that I think is still, it's the ghost. This is the part that's kind of haunting you still. Okay? And this is still, I think, something that you're kind of searching for. And if you're still searching for this out here in the larger universe, you may feel a frustration or an animosity against your current situation because you feel like it is holding you back from finding the real this, from fulfilling this wish. Okay? And there's part of you that was hoping this would fulfill the wish. Okay? And I don't know if this is about a past relationship or, if this is, we're still looking for that situation that's going to resonate with you completely on that soul level. Okay? And I don't know that you're in that situation now because this card seems to be bothering you. This is an echo of something. This is some kind of an unfinished thing. Okay? And Mercury in Cancer, it does show this idea of you like understanding what your deepest desires in life are, okay, but not like consciously acknowledging them, or consciously acknowledging them, but not making decisions that are going to put you in alignment with that deeper soul wish and that aspiration. I look at this card as like the aspiration, what you really wish for your life to be and who you want to be and where you want to be in your life and kind of that feeling that you are living right by your soul. Okay? And so this is that unfulfilled wish. The next card. Position 10, the destiny. This is where you're headed. This is your highest potential. This is the path of highest fulfillment. If you align with your truth, right, and your destiny isn't fixed, it's chosen one decision at a time. Okay, this card holds the vibration of purpose, of identity, of being fully yourself and not living life for someone else. Not being frustrated in life because, what does frustration mean? It means an energy was traveling in a particular direction and it got interfered with. And that energy now is frustrated. Okay, I don't know the etymology of that, but it's something to do with an impediment, right? Something's impeding the progress. Something has frustrated that trajectory. Okay? And so this is your true self. This is you wanting to be strong and maybe even independent. Okay? You want to be your true self. And this is a current situation that's frustrating that wish or that desire. Yeah. And, the queens also are always dealing with an ending. Yeah. And so it feels like we have a lot of endings. Every time we have an argument, the argument ends, life goes on. But then guess what? You get into the same argument again about something else or about similar things. And I don't even think it's a big argument. I think you're just like bickering over who's going to decide what we're having for dinner. And the problem is that, those arguments tend to end very quickly, but it's almost like you don't want them to. Okay? For the reasons we talked about, because that's at least some form of stimulation and excitement. But also, it feels like you're also kind of frustrated because you get over the arguments very quickly and life just continues on like nothing happened. And you're like, no, I don't want to keep just snapping out of it like this and pretending nothing happened. It's like the fact that these arguments keep happening should be significant. But your ability to let them go quickly and move on to just normal, getting back to normal life is kind of like, almost feels like a betrayal. Yeah. So I think there are a few reasons why you don't want the arguments to end so quickly. Yeah. And I think you're trying to discern whether it's just because you like that stimulation, or you like that form of attention, because it makes you feel like there's at least something here that is passionate, or it's because you feel like you're betraying yourself and doing yourself a disservice when you just let the arguments go very quickly and you forget all about it. It's like it never happened. But they should mean something. I don't know how else to explain that. You know, it kind of feels like you are excusing the behavior by forgiving somebody so quickly and saying, oh yeah, don't worry about it, let's just get back to what we were doing. It's almost like it's excusing the other person's behavior, when it's kind of like you feel that you should be mad for a long time because it's serious. Then of course that brings up the point of the perspective too. How serious is it really? Maybe it's not a lot of really big, huge, meaningful arguments, but it's just a lot of little things that you don't want to get over and forget about so quickly. Okay. Let's look at our mystery card, position 11, the guide. This is the ally. This is the insight that's going to lead you forward, right? The whisper of spirit, the guide, the omen, the inner voice that's helping you to take the next step. So what do we think it's going to be? I think it's going to be clarity. I think it's going to be an Ace of Swords. It's going to be another Sun card. Okay. And it could be a person, it could be a dream. We don't know the medium through which this advice is coming. Might be subtle. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. I believe it could be the Star. Could be another universe card. Well, let's see what we have. The Four of Cups. This is someone who's being very emotionally stubborn, right? I think that this is you clinging to how you feel and refusing to sort of refusing, like in a way to kind of kiss and make up until you really feel how you need to feel and understand what it means for you. I feel like you're somebody that needs to take some time now to stabilize. This is a card of like going to the storm shelter. Kind of saying like, take a time out from this dynamic and really shine that solar light on your heart and ask what your heart really is feeling, because that's going to give you the way forward. Okay. You want to be, of course, you want to be the person that can let go of things easily, that you can control your emotions and your temper. And when bad things happen and you get into an argument, that you can be the one to say, it's over, done, right? But when things keep happening and then you keep forgiving them and saying, okay, it's done, it's over, let's forget about it. When that happens too often, then it's kind of like, okay, somebody's taken too many leeways here. Somebody's getting too familiar. Somebody's taken that for granted, the fact that you'll always forgive them. Okay, so this might be taking a time out, taking emotional time out to figure out what it is you really feel. What is your heart really telling you right now? Okay, and to understand what the truth is that you might be refusing to see. Maybe the truth is that your feelings are hurt in a deeper way than you realized, and that something really does need to change here. Okay, and maybe, like we said, this is about you understanding that this is not that significant, that you have a larger picture, bigger plans. Spirit has big plans for you, that this is insignificant, okay? But if it keeps happening and it keeps drawing out the sort of shadow qualities of you, that, yeah, it's fine to use that as a chance to reflect and use it as a mirror to see your shadow qualities. But at some point we have to say, okay, enough is enough. Yeah. So this is that emotional timeout, to regroup, reassess, and figure out what exactly it is that your soul is wanting you to do right now. Especially with the twos that we have, because the twos are decision cards. Okay? Now, these 11 stations tell a story, but the final chapter hasn't been written yet. You're writing it every day. The dove invites you to surrender. The serpent asks you to awaken. Together they guide you toward transformation. If this reading resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and claim your role as a magic maker in the comments below. You're not alone on this path. We're building something sacred here. And we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around for that, we're going to do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link in the video description. New readings for Sagittarius Tuesdays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we are all in this together.